everybody. Welcome back to the Royal Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on today. But before we get started, look right down here. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And while you're down there, hit your notification bell so you'll know when I upload or when I just want to pop in. And give me a thumbs up to fight my nemesis, the algorithm. It is a beast to say the least. And also we have the join button down here. That's for our channel memberships. And if you decide to become a part of the reading club, you are going to help this channel to grow, to improve, and to continue. And I would be so appreciative if you did. I want to give a shout out to my newest channel members. They are Annette Sweat and Mary Daniels. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for taking a chance on my little channel and deciding to support it. And if you go over to the community page, you will find your official welcome to the reading club right over there. And it's some special um, content for you over there also. But it is going to be more and more coming, special content for the reading club. I really am working on some ideas. I want to make it fun, and I just want it to be something that we all enjoy. So if you're thinking about joining the reading club, please do. And you can also leave me a post and give me some ideas what you think might improve the reading club, some things that we can do. I would love that. I am all open for ideas for the reading club. All right, let's get into the read. When I was putting the read together today, after yesterday, being so mad about how I feel, Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace has sent out their flying monkeys to attack Harry and Meghan, to give the word, sent the word out that it doesn't matter what kind of noble cause Harry and Meghan is triumphing, that to try your best to find anything to tear them down. And we don't care if you have to smear parents who have lost children to scams online or bullying online. We don't care about that. We all we care about is to make Harry and Meghan look bad because we're over here on vacation not caring about anybody. Even though the country is on fire, well, it's not on fire now, but it was on fire. We don't care. We don't want to look bad. So, in order for us not to look as bad, we have to tear them down, even though they're a whole continent away. I have never saw anything like it before in my life. They monitor Harry and Meghan like Harry and Meghan lives in the UK. They actually would not know what Harry and Meghan is doing if they weren't hawking them so much. I'm talking about the UK media. I must say, I don't understand. I don't get it. Why can't you just ignore them and let the rest of the world follow them? They have a chokehold on the media over there. The tabloids and the news stations, the royal family has a chokehold on them. Why don't they give the word out to not bother with Harry and Meghan? Let the world do it. Because we're interested in it. But why don't you just leave them alone? That has always been my question. But they know Harry and Meghan makes them look bad. And Charles is over there really looking bad because people are saying all this racist riots that are going on or threatening to jump off at any minute is going on, and he's up there at Balmoral in Scotland foraging for mushrooms or taking in something. I forgot what he was doing. It's some kind of Scottish day or some kind of day he was at, sitting there with his skirt on. And just like he don't have a care in the world. It's just strange to me. I know I'm an American and I don't get it. I get that. I get that I don't get it. But when on the outside looking in at the UK, it looks really, really weird to have this family at the top of the food chain and they are so mediocre. I'm sure that any British person on the street has is better equipped to be king than Charles. Charles cannot hold himself together if a small child doesn't fix his robe the way he feel like it should be fixed. He can't hold himself together if his pen leaks on his hand. He cannot hold himself together if he have one too many items on his desk. So you telling me that this man deserves to be at the top of the food chain when it comes to society because he slipped out of the right birth canal. That's why it's weird to me. We as Americans, we can be born at the bottom and rise all the way to the top with determination and grit and smarts. But the British, you become the top of the top just by slipping out of the right birth canal. Now, I'm not saying that people who are born into wealth does not have an advantage here in America too. But the advantage is not so great that it cannot be overcome. It cannot be overcome in Britain. And this man, this mediocre man, is the head of state of the UK. And all this is going on, and he is impotent. He doesn't have any kind of respect to be able to sit on national TV like his mother used to do and call for calm. You know, he doesn't have the gravitas. He doesn't have the sway. He does not have the weight that his mom had. Can you imagine being him and knowing that he is not close to what his mom was? Not saying that the queen was did anything special or obtained her status any differently than he did, but the queen had a way of being respected. People respected her because she did try to live her life as an example. Charles has not, to say the least. He is, he put his mistress on the throne next to him. He used his children to satisfy the beast of the tabloids so they would not attack him. And he has pretty much never spoke to or protected or had a problem with that beast attacking his daughter-in-law, who is a woman of color. And this is what these riots are about in Great Britain. It's about race. And this man, when presented with the opportunity, like the Dutch king and the king of the Netherlands did, took a stand. The Dutch king came out and said, "Do not attack my daughter's fiance." And I think they're married now, husband. He said, "We are not going to do that." Charles has been silent from the beginning. He has all but endorsed it because that's what Harry said. Silence is endorsing it. And he has been forever silent. And I believe has contributed to it by leaking and stoking hate, him and William. And now the beast has turned on him. It is article after article after article talking about his silence. I chose one from Newsweek, but it's plenty out there talking about his impotence and how people have started to criticize him about his silence. But one thing Charles knows, he knows his limits. He is silent for a reason. And the reason he's silent because he knows he has no weight on this subject. He's never done anything to curb racism against his own family member. And so when people have witnessed that in real time, how you have allowed tabloids and news stations and people sit on their panels, news panels, and talk about your daughter-in-law. Harry said in the Oprah interview that one of the reasons that they left Britain was because of racism. And he wasn't talking about the people either. Because you see, the majority of the people showed up and said, no, that fascist mess you talking about, that racist stuff that you talking about, burning down these homes where these migrants or immigrants are staying. No, we're not doing that. That is the British people. The majority of the British people are wonderful people. And Harry has said that time and time again. But it is a sliver of racist. That's the only way you can put it. And Charles have never spoken on it because he knows it's been stoked by his supporters, the Tories, the Nigel Farages, all of them, the people who support him. I can't even tell you how many times Nigel Farage has gone on television and talked crap about Harry and Meghan, defending that family. And now Charles is silent when he has pretty much been fingered. Nigel Farage has pretty much been fingered as one of the culprits of the that's been stoking this nonsense. And so how can Charles get up there and say anything? But he is king. So now the BBC, the Newsweeks, the Daily Expresses are all have articles talking about and criticizing him for not speaking out. So let's get into this article real quick and we'll talk a little about it. This is not going to be a long podcast, but I just felt like I wanted to drag Charles. And so I popped on here. All right, here we go. Newsweek. King Charles' delay in condemning UK riots draw criticism. And this is by James Crawford Smith, one half of the royal experts at Newsweek. King Charles III delay in responding to far-right protests and rioting in Britain has drawn criticism, as reports suggest that Royal has requested to keep informed about developments about the UK new Prime Minister by the UK's new Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. immigration protests has led to riots and looting in areas of Britain after three children were killed in a stabbing attack at the Taylor Swift themed dance class in Southport on July the 29th. Misinformation on social media about the identity of the attacker and the anti-migrant rhetoric pushed by the far-right activists have helped stoke the unrest. Sorry, y'all, I don't know what is going on. I can't read it tonight, but basically what it says is that this incident happened. These three little girls was killed. It was not by a migrant. It was about it was by a British born citizen. But online, all this nonsense spread that it was about the person who did it was an immigrant. And wonder where they got that from. All of this has been percolating under the surface for a long time. And it started during the time of Meghan. Now, is it 100% caused by the royal family's treatment of Meghan? Absolutely not. It's not. But it was not helped and it was not forwarded like it could have been if they had took a strong stance like the Dutch king and the king of the Netherlands. But they chose not to. Where is this going on? It's not going on in the Netherlands. It's not going on anywhere in Europe except the UK. And it's because of very weak people like Charles and Tory leadership for so long that has stoked racism in order to gather power, such as Nigel Farage. That guy is weird. And why people continue to support him, I do not know. It is a mystery to me, the same as why people continue to support Trump. Trump cannot string together three good sentences without having something crazy in the middle of it. But people follow him. And my theory is it's because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel good to, to feel like they are better than someone else because that's all they have, because they losers in real life. Just my thought. But let's go on. It says the police has arrested over 100 people connected with the riots, with the prime minister saying on Tuesday that those involved would feel the full force of the law and that this should send a very powerful message to anyone involved, either directly or online, that you are likely to be dealt with within a week. And I think that they have dealt with them within a week. The monarch did express grief and concern after the stabbing. That to me is just like thoughts and prayers over here. You know, when something happens in the school where some unaliving of small children and the Republican lawmakers come out and say they thoughts and prayers, it pretty much means nothing. It means that they're not going to do anything, that he is not going to cut his vacation short at any cost, unless the pressure continues to build on him. And then the weak man that he is, he'll come out. And then they're going to crucify him for being the weak man that he is because he's never done anything. When it comes to race, Charles have done nothing. Nothing. It says the royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliam told Newsweek that in a sensitive and political link situation such as this, the king will be acting on the advice of and in line with the prime minister and the government of number 10 and Downing. Charles, if Charles had any gravitas at all, and if he had any kind of weight with the British people, the prime minister would be coming to him, asking him for help, instead of the prime minister telling him to shut up. Everybody noted that Charles has no weight. Charles is a joke, and he's a joke on the world stage. When he chose to make that woman his queen, he became a joke. And then, as things continue to come out and people start to learn more and more that he is a weak and feckless man who cannot hold himself together if his pen leaks, he has become even more of a joke. And the British people, that's why they got in the street and said that they were going to shut it down. Because they knew that they didn't have anybody else that was going to be able to shut it down except them. The Queen could have got on there and said, y'all knock it off, and people would have listened, and that would have brought people together. But people had to do it on their own. And where is Charles still hiding out in his castle, waiting for the prime minister to tell him what to do? That's Charles. It says clearly Buckingham Palace will be uh, liaisoning with Downing Street about any public royal response. See, what did I just say? Waiting for them to tell him what to do. The monarch will act on advice. This is likely once the security situation is considered under control to involve visiting areas which has been affected. So he gonna show up with his presence. He had to get cancer to keep the eggs from flying over his head. So now he gonna go to the areas. This man who has never done anything on race within his family is gonna come out and look at where the damage has been done. UK, don't you find this to be weird, strange, useless? I'm just saying. This would undoubtedly raise, listen what Fitzwilliam said. Listen what he said. This is likely once the security situation is considered under control to involve visiting areas which has been affected. This will undoubtedly raise spirits. Tell me, when you're a royalist, that you have some kind of mental disorder. Why in the world do they think Charles showing up with his childbearing hips is going to raise any spirits of anybody? These people think that they are so exalted that their mere presence brings lift spirits and make people happy. They really feel that. And Fitzwilliam is saying it out loud. It is a mental disorder. I am convinced of it. When you love to show deference to mediocre individuals that were born into a position, that you actually believe that their presence raises spirits. This is what this man is saying. My goodness. It says as the Prince of Wales he visited Trottingham immediately after the 2011 riots and several times afterwards. I guess that just really lifted their spirits to the point where they did it again. If Charles had protected Meghan, if he had spoke out like the other two kings spoke out when they observed the hint of racism and becoming a problem, especially with their family members, and the king of the Netherlands actually apologized and said that he was going to do everything he could do to make it right. Charles have said nothing about anything except walk around and barely shake a hand and think that his presence is going to lift somebody's spirits. They need to list royalists in the DSM-5. And if you are a mental health clinician, you know what I'm talking about. That is the Bible that mental health clinicians use to diagnose mental health issues and illnesses. And I really believe that being a royalist should be added to it. Just my opinion. All right, y'all. See y'all later. Bye.